got home recently from teaching a Spanish lesson, and man, it was really interesting. Not sure why I said it was 100 times, but super interesting. I was teaching an 8-year-old today. He was 8 years old. He's my youngest student, and I noticed some very, very fascinating things when I was teaching him. So difference number one, key difference number one. A lot of my adult students, I find that the pace of the lesson, the speed of the lesson, has to be relatively slower, or relatively slow. So it's going nice and easy, explaining things in depth and slowly and going at that pace. And that works well for essentially all my adult students. And with the lesson I did today, he's 8 years old, his brain's moving faster, he has lots of energy, he's energetic, right? And so the lesson has to be very different. It can't be moving at a very slow pace because he gets bored. And so in that lesson, I have to move at a much faster pace than with a lot of my adult students and keep things dynamic and improvised. The other thing that was really interesting is how do I explain this? With an adult, I find that their brains will make connections to things in different ways. So, for example, an adult, your default, in my experience, the default is if I say, hey, here's a word in Spanish, your default as an adult is to go, what does that mean? So if I say, hey, the word, I don't know, hola, and let's say you don't know the word hola, your first default is, what does that mean? I can say, oh, hola means hi, right? And that's the default. That seems like logic, seems like common sense. With him today, with the child today that I was working with, that wasn't necessarily his default. His default would often be imitation, which was fascinating. So if I say, ¿Cómo estás?, he'll repeat ¿Cómo estás? To me. That's his default, not what's ¿Cómo estás? That's not his default. His default is, let's say ¿Cómo estás? Back. And that was, I haven't figured out what the significance of that is. And I haven't figured out yet, I don't have enough experience. I haven't taught enough children with languages to know if this is a common trait among children, if this is just him, if this is like a one-off circumstance today and that's not really how his normal reaction is. I have no idea. But that's something I'm going to be paying very, 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 very close attention to as I continue working with the student. And I kind of want to start working with more children now to start testing, to start seeing what the major differences are between how adults are learning versus how children learn. But that was such a huge, momentous, shift for me anyway, because I was like, normally when I'm teaching people, my default is, oh, you didn't know how to say something? Let me translate that. Let me help you understand what we just talked about. But for him, that's not, in the lesson I was noticing, that's not always what was going through his mind.
I've been waiting to write you this song. I know that I come on too strong. I know that it all feels gone. What's the difference?
怎么说？像 senior student, like I'm a senior. College senior.
不知道。
大四。
大四。
对，大学的第4年。
OK。
OK， 下一个 multicultural. My city is a multicultural city, like yourself. 很多文化。不是就是多元的。
多元。That lesson just reminded me of a really big motivator when it comes to language learning for me, which is just competition, and it's more competition with myself as well as any other learners who are around me. So it's funny, I don't have any Chinese learners around me right now, but I felt like literally in the lesson we're doing a review and the first 10 questions he asked me, it's I didn't remember what the words were, and I felt like literally the image that came to mind is oh my god, I'm like a penny on the ground, I feel so small and I feel so awful about myself. But it's funny, as soon as I hit that place, it's so strange. My brain goes into this weird mode where it's oh, I suck at this, I'm so bad. And and it gets in this weird place where it's like, but wait, I'm gonna show you, teacher, I'm gonna show you, wait till the end. And then by the end, it's like 100% every time. And I was like, yeah, see, teacher, and I know the teacher didn't think this, but my thought process is, see, teacher, you thought I was the worst, you thought I sucked, but look, I proved you, look at me, look how awesome I am. It's so strange, it's so bizarre, how my brain goes into that zone, but something it does. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about one expression in French and one expression in Spanish. Hey everyone, how's it going? AZREN here. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to talk about some different reactions you could have after reading an article. The languages we're going to cover are English, French, and Spanish. Hi, my name's AZREN. I'm not sure if this would be the right phone number to call or not, but I was wondering where I need to look in order to see if you guys are hiring for any tour guides. Perfect. And then I guess the other question I had, maybe you'll know, maybe you'll not, but in your experience, I mean, when does the hiring typically happen? Like I'm very, this could be some background, like I speak a lot of different languages, and I travel a lot myself, and I speak a lot of different languages, and I thought, I figured that most people typically tend to visit the area like more in the spring, summer. So I thought kind of now, my guess was that now would be a good time to start reaching out, but when does the hiring typically happen? Just looking for a part-time tour guide job right now, looking into it. Not sure if I fully want to do it or not, but something I'm sort of putting feelers out into. I think it could be something I really enjoy. Could be a way to give me some practice with my languages, because I'll be around international people, make some cool connections around the world. Yeah, I think also would make very interesting videos if I'm like touring people around, showing things in the area. So I don't know, looking into it, we'll see what happens. Encanto, so E-N-C-A-N-T-O. T-O with an accent on it. And the pronunciation will be encanto. So the loudest part is the O. Ah, sí. Encanto. There we go. Me encantó.